Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to CxO Global Forum's first webinar for the month of February. February seems to be an interesting month of Pakistan, and we've chosen a very interesting topic for today's discussion. Before further, without further ado, I'd like to hand over the floor to our speakers so they could briefly introduce themselves before we deep dive into today's topic. So I think ladies first. Sarah, we'll start with you. Sarah, you're on mute. आप mute पर हैं.
My name is Farrukh, and I have extensive experience in health tech and EdTech. I have a lot of interest in cybersecurity things, and I am CSAM certified professional as well.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. Kashif?
Assalamu alaikum. This is Mohammad Kashif Siddiqui, Manager Governance, Nadik Foods, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and certification in PMP, CGIT, CISA, COVID Certified Assessor, and Implementer. Thank you.
Thank you. Junaid sir?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Junaid and I have 20 years of vast IT industry experience and attached with topmost organizations in Pakistan. Right now, working as a senior manager pre-sales in Cloud Tribe, that is a subsidiary company of, you can say, the Y Tribe and the SB Group of companies. So, and have a lot of passion related to, the hot topic related to, you can say, the cyber security and, the AI, the big data. So I am studying right now these topics.
Shali, we look forward to speaking with you in detail in the next hour. Finally, Ahmed. I can't hear Ahmed. Can everybody else?
No.
No.
Ahmed, we can't hear you. Why don't you try rejoining? So maybe disconnect and then join again? Because you're not on mute, but we can't hear you. Shali, we'll just start. So actually the topic of today's discussion, emerging technologies in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing. Now, I'm a lawyer by profession. Some of these words I've come across in my practice, but they sound very technical. And for our viewers and audience who might not know the exact connotation of these words, can somebody briefly describe what cybersecurity means? Let's just start simple, and then we'll sort of address the more pertinent questions. So, who would like to tell us what cybersecurity really is when we use it, or in the context of today's discussion?
So
Anybody, Sarah?
cybersecurity, I can start from here. Cybersecurity is securing your information in every aspect. Related to your personal information, related to your company information or data is everything in the current architecture. So you should manage your architecture accordingly and save your information. And there are the three main concepts of cybersecurity, or you can say the three main components. That is the CIA model. That is how can you integrate your information data, how can you can say the integrity, the confidentiality of data, and how you can secure your data. So that is the core mechanism. The information is everywhere, and how can you secure your correct information and the right information.
So just developing on this, and Ahmed has joined us. Ahmed, can you just quickly sound check if we can hear you?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Walaikum assalam. Okay, good.
Yes,
So we just, please introduce yourself.
sorry, man, I missed the introduction quickly. My name is Ahmed, and I'm working in Middle East from past more than a couple of decades as in the several areas, I would say, starting from IT governance, consulting, cybersecurity, and these days in digital trust, moving towards emerging technologies. So I'm looking forward to share my 2 cents in today's discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we actually started with something very simple. What is meant by cybersecurity? And Junaid Saab broke it down for us. So just building on that, how is the legal and this is really a question for me, but since I'm the moderator today,
Hmm.
how is cybersecurity regulated or implemented in Pakistan generally? And how is artificial intelligence being used to sort of make sure that cybersecurity is something that is being implemented? Again, the floor is open, so anybody who would like to take this question.
Okay.
Can I?
Like,
Let's go with Sarah, and then Ahmed, I'll come to you next. Gee,
Sure.
Sarah.
for implementing cybersecurity in any country, like there should be laws and regulations which should be first built, and then those should be enforced. Like in Pakistan, we have certain laws are there. Like we currently data protection law is there. Similarly, there
Can I,
are other.
sorry, Sarah, can I just interject here? So, data protection law has been in draft form for the last couple of
Yes,
years, and
yes,
it's still, so which surprises me because India actually implemented it last year, and we've been wondering. So, as a lawyer, I get asked almost, on a daily basis, do we have a data security law? We don't have a dedicated law. We have a bill which has been around for a couple of years. And I think maybe because of the sort of change in governments in the recent past, nobody has really sat down to implement it. So hopefully after next week, when we see a new government coming in, we might see that law being implemented. But other than that, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority has addressed cybersecurity. They have some laws in place for it. So please continue.
yes. Like there is a cybersecurity policy of Pakistan,
Yes,
which has been established, and there are other laws as well. And you rightly intervene that data protection law is still in draft format, but it's not firmed up or finalized yet. Similarly, apart from these general cybersecurity, there are some um, laws which are by you can say for the financial institution and the banks by State Bank of
that's right.
Pakistan.
That's
So
right.
they are they are enforcing those, but at government level I see not a lot of laws enforced or even exist there. They are in process, but not in their final form.
Absolutely correct. And I think we know the reason as well. If we see stability for sort of a certain period, hopefully these laws will be implemented at the government level. But then that brings me to my next question. If the laws are still yet to be implemented by the government, is the government leveraging artificial intelligence to take care of cybersecurity? Ahmed, would you like to take this?
Sure. So, very first thing, what I just wanted to add on what Sarah said is that it has a cybersecurity initiatives primarily have multiple stakes, considering the important role of the regulators, which always was been lacking behind from as far as our country is concerned. The reason being is like the very foundational requirement for any infrastructure to be secured is that to formally define it. There should be a well defined processes, procedures, and the policies to be there. Though there have been struggles, there have been many stakeholders which came at the front line to contributing to that thing, but nothing seems to be the very much clearly materialized though. But very recent efforts which have been done by Dr. Umar Saif, our federal minister for the caretaker government, very particularly, I would like to highlight the effort of establishing the NSERT, which is headed by the Director General, Dr. Haider. That's exactly sort of institutions what we need this time to in the country to protect our critical infrastructure first of all, and that goes with hand in hand with, of course, with other cloud service providers, with AI regulators, and so forth, and very importantly, our legislators as well, because that is very much related with the cybercrime, and that's affecting the very uh, lives of our citizens, governments, states, agencies, as well as anyone who's related with us. So the the second part of your question was about the use of AI. So unfortunately, leveraging the AI layer into the enforcing the cyber controls requires a lot of foundational level of maturity to be achieved before we can leverage the AI technologies. I usually say in my talks, like, there is no AI without IA. IA stands for information architecture. We do not, if we are not able to reach to the level to define and implement our data governance frameworks and the related policies and develop the relevant skill set, we will not be able to achieve that in a coherent manner. Because a very common example is like from a cyber monitoring activity from cyber attacks requires AI algorithms to use some sort of patterns which are needs to be defined at the information level in a very basic terminology. So that information needs to be very solid, reliable, and consistent, which is absent. So, in order to use any tools such as data classification tools or data protection tools, we need to define the very foundation of data governance first, which is lacking at the moment. So, at the moment, my answer would be no. We
Okay,
have not been.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
actually, I want to add something, Sahar. As Sarah mentioned, over there in Pakistan, as I had a massive experience working with different banks in Pakistan, so generally things being done or governed by the regulator, that is State Bank of Pakistan. So it has so many regulations, policies, procedure related to, of course, cyber security. Like we have ETGRMF, Enterprise Technology Governance and Risk Management Framework, which was first published in May 2017. Then since then we have so many security related directives from the State Bank of Pakistan related to cloud and on prem and so many other different formats of the data. Over here in Riyadh, we have, yes, NCA, National Cyber Security Authority. It looks very hard in so many ways related to information and data, and of course we have NDMO as well. So over here, especially in KSA, things are in place and being governed as well. So, adding to the Ahmed Sahab answer, there are three basic things to be adopted over there in Pakistan. I mean, first is people, process, and technology. If we have these three in place, then we can even think of to have different new technology to be adopted. So, do we have these three in place? People, process, and technology? Simple answer. That's my addition. Yeah.
Thank you. No, you've rightly sort of summarized the discussion, and I agree with Ahmed that cybersecurity is an increasing concern in Pakistan for the government, for its citizens. Um, I think, and we do have a draft cloud policy as well. So I think we've touched upon cybersecurity for now. Let's move on to blockchain technology. Junaid Saab, you very helpfully described cybersecurity for all of us. What what is meant by blockchain technology?
Before I am going towards the blockchain, I should add what are the core reasons right now why cybersecurity is not implemented in Pakistan? Because I have go through the partner sides toward the principal sides and the end customer side. So I know the hierarchy and the psyche of the customer, psyche of the partner, and psyche of the principal too. So there is, the lack of reason because cybersecurity is just a buzzwords for everyone, and they are working for it. Every company is working for their own architecture and managing the same. But in actual, there should be the cybersecurity domain, or the rules and regulations should be owned by any authority. That should be the government. That should be the only authority that should manage the whole cybersecurity architecture related to Pakistan. What should be done and what should be not done. So in our case, there are silos, the partners or the vendors who are emerging in the market with different product names, because cybersecurity is above the product. Okay, there is no any vendor specification on anything else that should provide the cybersecurity. It's a framework you can define from different technologies and emerge with different technologies in the market. So principals are working in their umbrella and pitching their products and how they secure your architecture and all the things. But from the partner perspective and the system integrator partners who are available in the market, they are making their business and work for the money, because in their methodology they have different products in the market, and they could buy one or other product. They can take their business and close their quarter. But there is the there is no any combined efforts showing in Pakistan right now related to cyber security, and that should be done by the government level. Obviously no one can do it at their end related to implement the cyber security principles all over Pakistan. They can implement on the company level or their architecture level too. So that are the silos we are working for. AI is the second shift, or you can say the upgradation of cybersecurity. What you can do in the cybersecurity domain related to AI. But if you are not familiar or you are not implementing the cybersecurity core concept, and what how you can go to the upper step related to AI, or managing the whole architecture related to cybersecurity. So blockchain is not my topic right now. I am scoping for the cybersecurity
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
AI.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Very helpful. Anybody else would like to take up blockchain technology?
Yeah. So, very fundamentally, like the term itself explains that when it's blocking the chain of the transactional computation. So let's say, as an example, like when if we have an accounting or the banking transaction that needs to be preserved end to end to ensure the integrity of the information, to protect it from any fraudulent, the loss of integrity of the information or hacking or any sort of stuff. So that's a basic concept of this technology and how it's been used as a different applications of this technology and different ways to implement and preserve the integrity of the information. If we take an example of a banking transaction that needs to be protected in each and every control, and there's a concept of a distributed ledger which we usually use in order to ensure from our accounting, the total controls of the total values which we make sure from each and every time when the every hop of the transaction that basically we counter check that whether it's been preserved or not. So that's nothing much of like one of the core application which is quite expensive in terms of implementation, and that requires a quite advanced level of skill set in order to understand the business acumen, business background, business processes, and to enforce the digital controls within the technology down there which we are using in the context of cybersecurity. So that's a very basic layman definition of a blockchain.
Thank you. That was quite comprehensive. So, what are the challenges that Pakistan faces in adopting and implementing blockchain technology for enhancing cybersecurity measures or to protect systems against cybersecurity? Ahmad or anybody else, if any of you would like to address this.
Sure, if I may.
Sure.
So the very fundamental challenges, which as I previously said, like the prerequisites to implement such a costly technologies to adopt, because in order to leverage any kind of advanced technology, you need to have a foundational processes, as Kashif rightly highlighted as well, that in people, process, and technology. First of all, do we have a right skill set in place? Are we our people on ground are trained to utilize such of a sophisticated tools to operate? On the other side, do we have the right legislative bodies? Though very rightly said by Kashif, is the State Bank of Pakistan have enforced a lot of policies in the digital front as well, but practically speaking, when it comes to ensuring the compliance and all that, there's still a journey. There's a lot of effort which has been put by the banks, and BFSI has always been a sort of a leader, whether regardless of Pakistan or any other territories, in terms of adopting such the policies to secure the integrity of the information, to protect it, the processes from fraudulent activities, considering the financial aspect. But all that effort comes with a cost. So that any new technology which comes in place will bring its own risks and introduce a new risk as well. So, are we ready to adopt that thing that requires a long term planning with a proper short term, medium term, and long term goals? If we are not able to do that with the help of our all the stakeholders sitting on the round table and discuss it together, including the regulators, including the industry leaders, and the corporate, the investors, we will not be able to achieve that thing in an effective manner. There are some organizations, such as I would say, I wouldn't like to take a name of the organization just to not to discourage others. There are some organizations in the Pakistan who are exemplary, who has achieved a lot in order to model themselves. In a banking world, Mizan Bank is a good example. I mean, their systems are quite secure, reliable. As far as I'm as a digital trust advisor is concerned, as a customer of Mizan Bank, if I'm fully trusting the the digital banking of services offered by a bank, that's, I think, sufficient enough for that efforts to achieve the objectives. So this is all about it, which I would like to say. Blockchain is one of the technology which is quite expensive. Their technologies are very expensive. Their algorithms are quite complicated, and we still lack a lot of required skill set on the ground to adopt that technology effectively.
Yeah,
So,
Adding to Ahmed,
I want to add something. Yes, please, Sarah.
yes. What blockchain is still an evolving technology in Pakistan. Most of the banks, many banks are using it for their KYC, uh, know your customer thing. But the thing is that the use of blockchain for cybersecurity is still a far-fetched concept because we don't have regulatory any regulatory body or regulatory laws that can ensure the compliance on of that. So this is my addition on this.
Yeah, in addition to the MSR response, as far as cybersecurity is concerned, cybersecurity, as the saying goes, that has to be everyone's responsibility, right? But unfortunately, in our culture, everyone's responsibility is no one's responsibility, first of all, right? And then second comes, actually, I've been a part of different standards, implementation, certification like ISO 27001, COVID for governance, and so many others as well. So I have, experience of actually the basic thing is what, in addition to the MS Java response, things start from generally things start from the academia. First of all, do we have people? Do we have trained people? Do we have people who have been taught related to, I would say, AI, related to, I would say, especially blockchain? Actually, as far as cybersecurity is concerned, it was started, I guess, 15 years ago in Pakistan. As far as universities degrees are concerned, I mean, there are few universities in Pakistan, especially in Karachi, who started MS in information security. But how long it has been started? 15 years back, maximum 20 years back. So that's our nursery. From there, people coming out and getting involved in different corporate culture, of course, organizations, companies. Then comes the requirement of the industry. So the basic thing is what, do we have requirement aligned with the academia, or do we have academia providing people or stuff aligned with the requirement of the industry? That's basically a basic fundamental question we all must answer. Thank you.
thank you. So I think if I were to summarize what Ahmed, Sara, and Kashif Saab said, the problems are essentially twofold: lack of training, lack of skill set, and the cost associated with it. But then Ahmed also gave an example of Mizan Bank, which is a very organic, it's a Pakistani brand which we're very proud of. And if they can do it, then everybody else can. It's just, I think, a matter of of the plus the academia sort of focusing their attention towards this sector. And I think somebody mentioned that it started 15 years ago, but I also feel that if offered, our youth is very bright. They can quickly catch up. So even if we started it recently 15 years ago, we can catch up very quickly. It's just a matter of giving the opportunities to people who are interested in learning and developing this skill set. And budget is an issue, costing is an issue with everything, but it can be worked around. So I think once
Yes,
again, going back to was somebody saying something?
yes, absolutely. One thing I should add, because if you want to implement the pure cybersecurity architecture in Pakistan, that should be the government should be reliable on that to make the proper rules and regulations, because every company or every partner works with sincerity at their end, but there is no scope of work, or what principles or what rules should be implemented, because there should be the government strict policy. Because in order to achieve the cyber security goals, you have different products or different solutions that should be lie or to manage the whole architecture, or implement the cyber
But
security solution.
Junaid sir, can I just sort of ask a question here? Even before the government implementing laws and rules and regulations, because that can be done. We already have laws which either have not been implemented or are not being enforced effectively. So I think even
Yes.
before that, a lot of responsibility also lies on our academia. As I
Yes.
think Kashif Saab said, that we need to offer training and skill development in this particular sector and encourage students to take this as well. So, and this can come in the private sector's domain as well. Yes, we have public sector education, but this is something that the private sector can focus on.
Yes, that is the long-term planning. If you educate from the university level, or you can educate the students and make the good dream for Pakistan. But that is the should be the long-term process. If in order to achieve the current situation here in Pakistan, you can say implementation of cybersecurity principles should be strictly followed, and that should be owned by the government, because in my opinion there are a lot of products who are compromised. International products are there who are just in the market of Pakistan. That is the easy low hanging fruit, and they can occupy the business and grab all the businesses in Pakistan. But how we can expect that those products are not compromised, or where the data, our data, or you can say on the whole umbrella, where our data is going in all over the world, or how the product we can use. It should be the government entity that should be authorize the product that should be valuable for Pakistan or not. So that is the main criteria here in Pakistan right now, because there are a lot of products, lot of principles, lot of partners are working for different products all over the global products we are working for. But there is no any mechanism how we can rectify or we can rank that product that should it is that product or solution should be compromised or not. So we as an individual or as a company, we cannot do that. That is the government to and the principal level policy that should be defined in the government rules. So that is my total concerns related to right now current situation in Pakistan, because every having some money, they can start cybersecurity businesses or implementation businesses. So that is not the criteria. That should be authorized by the government. The government should own who can do the partnership level related to principal or the security solution they can sell in the Pakistani market. There should be criteria in every aspect and every level. No can do any cyber security business or implementation unless it should be authorized by the government. So that is the main reason what I can say, that the whole architecture we want to build for Pakistan. That is not the the in silos we can do the cyber security part and all the things. We can secure our company architecture in that sense, but in all over in the bird eye view, I cannot see any cyber security enhancement in Pakistan right now. That is my concern.
That's true. That's true. And I think you're talking sort of more at the business level. But coming back to my concern relating to education and knowledge being imparted on this, is anybody aware? Is there any collaboration between the government and any academic institution that we would like to share? Is Do we have
Yeah, we
any
had
of you?
we ha- yeah, we had some programs recently. First of all, Kamyab Jawan program. It had so many other certifications, and of course related to security as well, and then audit and project management. But I don't know exactly it's still continued or not. But as far as security is concerned, there are a lot of certifications related to cyber security. And my personal experience is, as far as security is concerned, especially cyber security, people who come in this field are generally passionate. Without passion, I don't think cybersecurity can be implemented or adopted or taught or
I
learned or so on and
completely
so
agree.
forth. And the second is what do we have? I just went through a recent research related to the topmost certifications, especially for cybersecurity, and in all categories. First of all, in all categories, the topper is CISSP, which is being governed by IC Square. CISSP stands for Certified Information System Security Professional. It's basically massive, huge, and it is considered as a bible for cybersecurity. So, do we have the academia which is aligned with CISSP so that we can cover things or cover requirement related to the different corporate sector in Pakistan? So, very few in Pakistan who are in cybersecurity, but I can tell you, I must tell you, they all are passionate. Why? Because if you talk about IT governance, which has a flavor of cybersecurity, there is no as such academia being of academia offering a degree or courses related to IT governance. So we have CGIT, we have COVID, very few in Pakistan. I know people, but very few in terms of numbers.
You make a very valid point. This area is such an exclusive and niche area that the people who sort of venture into this, it's because of their interest and passion. It's not one of those sort of, the more routine uh, fields where parents push their children. I mean, somebody who works in this area does so because he's interested and passionate. You make a very valid point, and I think we really need to, the government and the private sector, we need to nurture and mentor such students who have a keen interest in this area, because at the end of the day, this is going to benefit the country as a whole. So I think moving on to
And
our
sir, are we able to retain those people who are CSSP? That's
That's another question. We've seen
yeah.
immense brain drain in the last couple of years, and brain did drain in very sort of again very common sectors. So if we were not able to retain those uh, those people, would we be able to retain such sort of talented and highly specialized professionals? And this, remember, this is an area which is still evolving all over the world. So there'll be huge demand for professionals who are good in this area. Very valid question. This is something that collectively all of us need to look into and address, so that we make sure that we develop the skill set and we retain this skill set. So at the end of the day, it benefits everybody, businesses, the country as a whole. Fingers crossed. Moving on to our next topic, which is quantum computing. Who would like to describe this word for us? This concept. What is this concept? What is quantum computing?
I can volunteer if you allow.
Please, Ahmed, go ahead.
Right. So the quantum computing per se is not a new term. It's been invented back in 1960s or 70s, and still, like, because of the commercial reasons, that technology couldn't be evolved in a way that to be commercialized or used in a corporate world. Quantum computer can cost till today is in comes down to millions of dollars. The very fundamental difference between the computer of a used with the quantum technology with today's computer, which is a digital computer, is a digital computer is based on a very common thing which we call as a bit, which can carry only the two bits, 0 or 1. Quantum computer use electrons as to carry the information and can carry any sort of information. So using the electronics instead of replacing the electronics of the ICs and chips with the very foundational natural build, um, uh, foundational stones of the nature, which is like electrons and the nucleons and positrons, these kind of physical matter, and which can carry any kind of or any amount of information, can basically transform the computing to the beyond of our imagination. Just to give you an example, that the 8 to 12 character password today require, well, first today's supercomputer to be broken in, let's say, I think more than that, gonna take some months time to break it with terms number of computation. And if we use a quantum computer of today, that requires not more than 3 seconds to break it. So that's basically the simplest way to express the level of computing power. That's a need of the future for us, because the use of AI and the amount of information what we need down there to process in order to leverage the highest, the capability of our AI algorithms, machine learning, robotics, and on top of it is the nanobots, which are being tested now, requires, like, the common set of data set, the common size of the data sets which are required to process is in petabytes, such as a one human DNA can be coded in a data form that requires at least 3.6 petabytes of data for one human. So what we are talking about in the future, what the size of information, the volume of information, what we need, and that to process in order to enable the future level of AI in terms of robotics, in terms of superhumans, in terms of transhumanism, and so forth. That will be the very foundational, transformational, and revolutionary technology, because we are currently in an information era, which we passed the digital era, and now we're going to be into quantum era very soon. And I don't feel that will pass 2030. It will happen before. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you. You elaborated it very well. And you mentioned that this is not a new concept. It's been around since the 1960s. Um, to what extent is this a prevalent concept in Pakistan? And you mentioned that, I mean, there has been sort of progress from the 60s to where we are now, and there's still a lot of room for development in the future. But to what extent is it implemented or prevalent or used in Pakistan?
See, as far as my knowledge is goes, but I don't think that has been anywhere possible for any use of such expensive technology for commercial reasons. That's very much quite possible, which can be used by the space programs or the defense programs, though, which is beyond of our access of our knowledge, though. But being that said, it's been very much been discussed, researched, and the our academy as well, our universities are delivering the programs on this technology, which is very soon gonna be the present, not the future. The only thing, the difference is, like, when the ground level of technology which we need to develop such computers are highly sophisticated. That requires a full set of labs. So just to share with you, for the greater benefit, is that the quantum computer cannot be kept in the physical environmental conditions. That has to be completely vacuumed,
I see.
airtight, because if there will be a minor breath will be taken in that room where the quantum computer is placed, that will affect the computation as well. So that's why it's so expensive, and that can be, or that is can or that is being used currently in a very highly sophisticated space or nuclear or defense programs so far.
Okay,
I
adding
see.
to
So it's
Ahmed's
it's
point,
Ji.
Sahar, I would like to mention that cybersecurity technology in cybersecurity area, there are a lot of things that can be uh, for which AI can be very useful. For example, we have security operation center SOC or SIEM solutions which actually and which actually has lot of data coming in, and then the data is being analyzed. So AI and computing can provide a vital role because a lot of data is generated. So identifying the patterns which are like harmful, or these things can have a lot of impact, and we can use AI for this. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, we are far away from this level, right? The other thing that I would like to mention about the importance of regulation is that there are few industries in Pakistan which are like doing a lot of work on cyber security and taking those measures. But there are the other industries, like if we talk about the softwares being used in for education or hospital. So there is no it's up to them that whether they want to secure their systems or softwares or their applications. It purely depends at the organization level, or that whether they want to secure it or not. So that is why there is a like a borderline or something. Okay, these are the regulatory requirements and that should be compliant. So this is what I feel, that
You make a very
regulatory.
good point. You make a very good point that if the government mandates implementing or using such technology, then businesses will have to strive towards implementing that in their own system. And you again, you make very valid points. Personally, as you know, as sometimes when I go to the hospitals and I see how much their software needs to be developed and how far behind it is right now, is just very disappointing. I mean, as patients or as attendants, caregivers who are accompanying patients, it's frustrating the amount of time it takes for the software to do simple things, because nobody visits the hospital for fun. And just like so, similarly in the education sector, we really, really need to pull up our socks. Um, it's expensive. So Ahmed mentioned, it's expensive. There needs to be a highly sophisticated system. It can be done. It is expensive, and right now we are sort of struggling a little bit economically, but it's something which can be done. Would anybody like to add anything before I pose the next question? So,
Can I?
and you mentioned that. Actually, I was going to ask. My question was that if quantum computing was on the rise in Pakistan, what strategies was what strategies was Pakistan employing to address any potential risks that quantum computing might pose to traditional encryption methods and
Yeah.
ensuring data security? But I think you answered that question by saying that we are yet to implement quantum computing at a wider level in the country. Is that correct?
Actually, the question came before my answer, and that's exactly what I wanted to explain. Is that there is a concept, a new evolving concept within space of infused space of quantum and the cyber is called as quantum safe. So any new technology which comes brings its own risks. So that level of highest, very highly advanced and powerful computing power will bring a lot of security risks as well, right? such as like encrypting or the breaking the encryption keys, passwords in few seconds, and so forth. So that requires an additional level of security to ensure the the mitigation of those risks which will be exposed or imposed by the quantum computing. That's called as quantum safe. How we can basically ensure that in our encryption keys are strong enough which cannot be broken down into easily or cracked down easily by the quantum computing is all about quantum safe, which is the detailed study within the encryption. Now there are, of course, it's not a simple formula of like just increasing the encryption key size from 248 bit to 4000 bit. Still, as you, even if you grow the size, it will again gonna be able to break it. So there are new technologies or new techniques have been evolved, which has been introduced in order to for the key development itself or manufacturing of the keys, which will not be easier to break it from the quantum by use of quantum computing. Such as one is a very common approach, I would say, is been taken is using our own proprietary encryption algorithms, which are not available in public. So even if someone gets the key, they will not be able to break it. So this is one of the few couple of cents which I would like to share.
Thank you. Thank you for that very helpful answer. And I think you're right that with technological development, with each technological development that comes, it comes with its associated risks. But then it's sort of it's the ecosystem's job to mitigate those risks, to solve teething issues, and to streamline the development. Would anybody like to add anything else? Or my next question would be, to what extent do, and I think I know the answer, but to what extent do private businesses in Pakistan implement AI or other technologies as part of their measure to sort of minimize cybersecurity threats? I mean, we mentioned Nizam Bank, but then they're one of the leading Islamic banks in Pakistan. They have set up, but some
Actually, Sahar, your voice is
smaller.
breaking, so we are not being able to get completely what exactly is the question.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, with a very robotic voice.
Can you hear me now? I don't know why no. Maybe let me
Sorry,
switch my connection.
you can disconnect and then rejoin, Sahar.
Yeah.
So
Okay, is this better?
No. So meanwhile, if you all allow, just to share one important concept, which I believe that needs to be discussed along with all the other emerging technologies, is that the increased use of immersive technologies, the AR, augmented reality, or the virtual reality and all that, that's taking a very a big and strong space within the era of cybersecurity, because immersive technologies have introduced a new risks now, the virtual reality, and it has taken up sort of a big stake of in the business world, that all the education sector, all the training sector, such as when I one example which I would like to share, as all we would be aware of, like even the virtual concept of virtual classrooms. But imagine such facilities, such nuclear facilities, where you cannot bring the training students to and expose them to such facilities for the training purposes, right? So that on such sophisticated nuclear plants, for example, so that such trainings have been delivered through the immersive technologies like augmented or virtual reality, in order to make them learn and exposed to such technologies in a virtual way. But from a cyber point of view, I mean, of course, there's a lot of cybersecurity applications which are applicable now, to the extent that now UK is legislating the intellectual property rights in the meta world, as we all aware of, and there are been legal cases which have been filed in terms of the compromise
Yes.
of services in the meta world. So that
Yes.
is should be infused within by the leveraging all these technologies. We all are heading towards the new world order, which is called as the world of superhumans.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, very much loud and clear.
Okay, great. I think my next question was, which you can hear, was we sort of mentioned Mizan Bank implementing these softwares and technologies as part of their organization. Is it too wishful for me to ask if businesses generally adopt these technologies as part of their organizations to counter cybersecurity threats? Is this something that has permeated to sort of the business community in Pakistan yet, or is this something that is a few years away?
I
And
think
we also
businesses are
spoke about.
still struggling for implementation of cybersecurity because this area is an expensive one. And again, as Kashif said, there are no experts available for the same. So what I feel is that the cybersecurity is still not a very common area in which all kind of businesses are investing, or they actually know the realize they don't have the realization, or they don't know its importance. Like, if you can say, if there are some POS system that is working on some shop, it will not have any security measures unless and until there are some incidents reported.
Yes.
So I
So
think
I
we're
think
another
we
sort
are
of
struggling
five to
with that.
ten.
Yes.
I think we're another 5 to 10 years away from this being a little more commonly deployed in whether it's schools or hospitals or businesses. And I think this sort of brings me to my next question, which is given the
Yes.
socio-economic.
One
Sorry.
thing I should add related to the assembly side here in Pakistan, they have the different myth and the different thinking related to what is cyber security. They are working as a no, reactive approach, not as a proactive approach. They just take the backup of the data or the application, or they just say that nothing can do and we have the backup, and they have no any real picture related to what is cybersecurity and where the world is going right now. So that is the there is the training or you can say the webinars, and these things are very much necessary related to the SMB side business here in Pakistan, because the corporate banks, FSIs, they are interact with customer, interact with international partners. They know that state bank policies and all the things, but related to the SMB side, small textile industries, or you can say the pharmaceutical small industries, they have no any concept related to cyber security in Pakistan, and that is the losing point from Pakistan. I think so.
I think you mentioned pharma sector. The fact that in the last few years we've seen, for instance, I'll just pick on the pharmaceutical sector, we've seen them struggling with basic issues as a result of our macroeconomic condition. So I think for them it was a matter of survival. This actually is something they're not thinking about right now. So
Yes.
maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, 5 to 10 years, when things become hopefully inshallah a little more stable, and we are already in this period of stability, which hopefully will continue in the long run, and sort of questions and discussions which we had today is will become more commonly discussed in small to medium businesses as well. And I think we're also sort of nearing our 1 hour mark. So one last question for me, which sort of dovetails to what I previously asked. Given socio-economic diversity in Pakistan, what is your view on cybersecurity solutions incorporating considerations for accessibility, diversity, inclusivity, particularly in the rural areas? How do you see these concepts that we've discussed today have any relation to or being utilized? Uh, because we have a huge sort of Pakistan has a lot of rural areas. How do you see these concepts being deployed to promote accessibility, inclusivity, and diversity? The floor is open for all of you. And I think I do realize it's a slightly we're sort of it's a premature question at this stage,
Yeah, I mean,
given.
the question, sorry to cut you. The first question which comes in our mind: how much IT have we have deployed in the rural?
Exactly,
First of all,
exactly.
how much electricity have we have been able to deploy it over there? How much technology we have been able to deploy it over there? Then comes AI. Then comes other new technology. If the basics are not there, so how can we even dream of things like the next level things to be deployed there? So that's my question.
Yeah, that is
You,
the lackness in the urban areas too. Why we are going to the rural areas right now?
I think my sort of intention behind raising this question, like I said, I knew the answer. It was for it was just to sort of to encourage uh, people and different sectors to think about this area. I know we have yet to tap into the urban sector, rural will come next, but just so that we don't forget about our rural areas, and we have some very sort of talented individuals in these
Yes.
rural areas who probably don't have the opportunity to come to urban sector and sort of offer their skills. So it's something which, and I don't think we should wait. Okay, let's take care of the urban area first and then move to rural. I think perhaps at some level and to some extent this can be done in parallel. Whilst we are hopefully in this era of stability, whoever, whether it's the public sector, the private sector, or the government, when they think about implementing these concepts and technologies in urban areas, they should also think about addressing the problems. And very rightly said, Kashif साहब, पहले IT, basic IT तो rural areas में दें, उसके बाद ये सब आता है. But I think that's something that we should make sure is on their minds, so that it doesn't take a lot longer for the rural areas to catch up and it happens in parallel. Um, so if anybody has anything further to add, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll round up today's discussion. And thank you to all of you. Very interesting topic, technical topic, but hopefully to whoever was listening to us today, it was educational. It was to me, and we addressed where we are, where we need to go, how we can go there, and what needs to be done. So thank
अच्छा,
you,
मैं
everybody.
एक चीज़ और ऐड करूँगा मैं लास्ट में, फ्रॉम द एजुकेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बड़ी बात हो रही है यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल से. अगर आपको यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल से अगर स्टूडेंट्स को ग्रूम करना है तो यू मस्ट हायर सम एजुकेटेड इंडस्ट्री पीपल्स फ्रॉम द मार्केट इन द यूनिवर्सिटी. ठीक है, वो ज़्यादा बेहतर तरीके से स्टूडेंट्स को ग्रूम कर सकते हैं क्योंकि वो एक टेक्निकल एक्सपोजर से या मार्केट से होके आए हैं, बनिस्बत इसके कि जो सिर्फ एजुकेशन लेके और थ्योरेटिकल एस्पेक्ट से पढ़ाते हैं स्टूडेंट्स को. फिर स्टूडेंट्स मार्केट में आते हैं वो बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपोजर में नहीं होते, वो जाहिर है वो थ्योरी पढ़ के आए होते हैं. तो जो प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपोजर वाले लोग होते हैं ना उनको हायर करना चाहिए मार्केट में.
Yeah, so
That,
Sad, yeah,
Ji.
Sad, your last question was very right. Potentially, it was, to be very honest, logical. Why? Because we have, around say 70-75% area which is, based on rural and of course rustic as well. So, if it has a lot of foresightedness as far as your question is concerned. If we focus on that and we could move around over there, we can get the desired, of course, results. And but still, for that, we need to have a basics over there.
That's true. And I think those basics can be deployed fairly quickly if there is will to do it. I think with everybody else in the country, there needs to be will. And where it's lacking from the government level, we've seen the private sector stepping in and doing their part. I do acknowledge that the last few years have been difficult for the private sector as well, but hopefully this is something that in the next few years is something that can be addressed all around. So if anybody else has anything to add, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll sign off for today.
बस विजन और मिशन की कमी है। विजन स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए और स्पेशली फॉर गवर्नमेंट साइड से बातों से असल में काम नहीं होता।
We know what the vision is and should be. It's a matter of implementing it. It's a matter of having the will to do it. And
Yes.
we can, I mean, at least as far as we're concerned as professionals, we can sort of do what we are skilled to do, and we
Yes.
can address this issue at forums like these. And I think Kashif Sahab, you mentioned that, we need to have, or was it Junaid, that we need to have webinars as well. I do
Yes.
agree we need to have tailored webinars for the Pakistani market. But in this era of technology, there's a lot of material available on the World Wide Web. There is a lot available on YouTube. Sure, it needs to be tailored to Pakistan, but if somebody has the passion to develop their skills, they can do so by accessing publicly available resources. Um, Having said that, there needs to be a concerted effort by our own academia on this subject as well.
Yes.
So, thank you very much again. Thank you. It
Thank you.
was a very productive discussion, and I hope we'll see some development and progress in this area in the next few months, uh, or hopefully the next
Inshallah.
couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah.
Allah
Inshallah.
Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Assalamu
Allah
alaikum.
Hafiz. Bye.